North Carolina Wesleyan College has been the fastest growing private college in the state of North Carolina for the past several years. It is a happy place built on a family-like community that embraces this growth with rigor and excitement.
Or does it? To find out the answer to this, Madison and I have hired a private investigator to interview students of North Carolina Wesleyan College to see just how the campus feels about its ever-growing population. We now turn you to private investigator Locey.
So as a student of Wesleyan, tell me, what do you think of the classroom building situation? And do you think that there should be more priority put upon it?
I like the classrooms, but we could use some more.
I think the classroom spaces are fine as they are right now, but if the student population starts growing too much, we should definitely expand them as much as we can.
And what do you think of the housing situation?
Currently, I think the housing situation does need the most work.
I don't know about the housing on campus, but I like my house.
What would you rate the school?
10 out of 10. It's a great learning environment. I love being here.
What was the question?
Tell me.
Oh, 7 out of 10?
So evidently, if you want to know how students feel about their campus, hiring a private investigator is not the best idea. Thankfully, Madison and I took the liberty of interviewing 30 students ourselves to see how they feel about a growing population here at Wesleyan. Unfortunately, we found that our data tended to be skewed by students wanting to just rush through the survey or not answering all the questions rather than taking time to answer each question in detail.
So what we thought was going to happen was that we would write up 3 articles and we would ask students about their feelings about the growing population of the campus, and then we would see how that influenced their bias to which news article they thought was the most accurate.
We took an article from the Wesleyan Decree, the student newspaper, that was an interview with Dr. Duff talking about different plans for Wesleyan to continue to grow. Increased graduation rate, a new business building on campus, and new residence halls, among other things. The first article had the accurate information that Dr. Duff gave. The other 2 had one that the statistics were raised. For instance, the claim was from the paper that the business building has 75% of the funds needed to complete. But in our first article, we skewed that and said that only 30% of the funds had been raised. And in the second, to be a little more positive, we said that 90% of the funds had been raised, just as an example.
One thing I realized was when I was writing my article, I didn't have any statistics, so I worked on wording to frame the words to where one article seemed negative, one seemed neutral, and one seemed positive. But then we combined all 3 of the articles together that Dan, Will, and I wrote, and I figured out that a lot of people chose the first article because they were just reading the statistics. They weren't necessarily reading the entire thing, and it wasn't necessarily based on their bias. It was probably based more on logic.
We say all this to say that conducting surveys with human subjects is extremely hard, especially when you're trying to determine a bias or a person's opinion. Human consciousness is extremely complicated and diverse, and it's just really hard to tap in and understand everything. So I think the biggest thing we learned is if you want to do successful surveys, you got to keep trying.
It takes time
and practice.
Patience.
And patience.